Start making that list for comics you want to buy next week. Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you my top 10 most anticipated comics of the week, and this is for April 24th, 2019. That's right, fans, it's never too early to think about next week's comics, and hopefully this countdown will help you make decisions on what comic books to buy. Sorry about that. So, if you like this video at any time, guys, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that all-important notification button so you don't miss a single video from me. And with that being said, guys, let's get started with this countdown. You guys know at this point that I always start with a book that's on the hot seat. And I guess this book has to do with a series of tie-ins. And this week's hot seat goes to War of the Realms, Uncanny X-Men, issue number 1. This is obviously a War of the Realms tie-in, and this book has to do with Valkyrie leading the X-Men in charge, to go into the battle of War of the Realms, right? I feel that this is kind of going to be the make or break it thing when it comes to these outside tie-ins, when it comes to War of the Realms. If I don't feel that this story is going to be fun for me or enjoyable on these tie-in levels, then I'm just not going to pick up any more of the tie-ins except for the current issues that I currently already buy. So Journey into Mystery really wasn't my thing this past week, and then this one, we'll see what happens. So very curious to see, but I don't know, it's not optimistic when it comes to these tie-ins. I could save some money here. Alright, so let's kick off the official countdown with number 10. And my number 10 goes to Heroes in Crisis. This is issue 8. This is the second to the last issue, the penultimate issue of Heroes in Crisis. And this series has really dropped off for me since its debut from issue 1. I just feel like it's been a very slow burn type of story. And if you like that story, hey, that's great. If you love mysteries, that's great too. And I am into mysteries, but I thought this story would be in a completely different direction that it took. I didn't think it was going to be this whole Wally West situation. I didn't think we're going to get to see like the death of Poison Ivy and the rebirth of Poison Ivy. And I would have found myself more infatuated with this story if we got to know what the Sanctuary was before this story actually was released to you. Our heroes made it this thing that it seemed like it was around forever. And as the reader, you're only introduced to it for this particular event. And, a lot of people are upset because Wally West died, and we see what's going on in the story. I just feel like this story is just too slow of a burn. I've lost interest in it, but I'm curious to see how it's all going to end, and how is it going to affect our characters in the DC universe going forward. Alright, so moving on to my number 9 this week, and my number 9 goes to Superior Spider-Man. This is issue 5. We got to see Superior kind of be more human-like as he was trying to save people in the aftermath of Terrax in the last issue. We get to see him team up with Anna Marie Marconi, as she's going to be kind of his right-hand woman in the whole thing of everything. And, I still don't know the clear direction of where this story is going to go, but it is kind of fun. I just want Superior to get rid of all his little sidekick cronies that are working for him. I don't like that aspect for it. I like Anna Marie and I like Superior, but those other guys can take a hike. In this issue, we have Superior Spider-Man that's going to have to deal with a magic threat in this particular issue. So now he has to find help from Doctor Strange, and we know how Superior is. He doesn't like help. He doesn't like to ask for help. He doesn't like to be against the ropes. He feels like he's superior to all. So for him to ask for help is going to be quite interesting, and it could be kind of comical. So looking forward to it. We're going to see what happens with the issue. All right, so next we're moving on to number 8. And number 8 this week goes to something completely different that I don't usually read. And this is Jughead, The Hunger versus Vampironica. What's better than a book where you have vampires versus werewolves, where you have vampires versus werewolves in the Archie universe, okay? Jughead, if you guys are familiar with Jughead, is actually this big werewolf. And he's had his own series, and Veronica has her own series. So Veronica is like a vampire hunter, or she is a vampire. I don't know. I guess she's a vampire. And it looks like these two are going to fight against each other. So based off of the cover alone, it just looked badass and worth the buy anyway. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check out this story because the hunger always looked quite interesting. So I'm going to see what happens in this issue. Just something completely different, and could be a lot of fun. All right, so moving on now to number 7. And number 7 is a book I also don't normally read. And this is Spawn. This is issue 296. This is the road to 300, guys. This is the life and deaths of Al Simmons. This is part 1. And it has to do with Al Simmons' past, present, and future, right? And this book is only $2.99, which I think was really kind of worth the purchase anyway. You kind of can't go wrong with that there. And so this has to do with all the heroes in the past, his villains in the past, and the future, and everything like that. I haven't read Spawn in a very long time. I don't know what's going on in the series, but I feel like, hey, you know what? This is a new story arc. Why not jump on the bandwagon towards the road of 300? Because there's one thing that I gotta give Todd McFarlane is, man, he's kept this book going. And congratulations to him. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here in this road to 300. All right, so moving forward now, we go on to number 6. And number 6, guys, goes to Batman Beyond issue 31. Still continuing with the aftermath of Terry McGinnis battling the Joker. This time there's going to be a new villain by the name of Split in this story arc. And again, Terry's still going through that whole situation with the Joker, how he's recovering with it, how he's dealing with his brother. And then obviously there's going to be something going on with Bruce Wayne in this story arc as well. And I'm sure whatever book that Terry's in with Bruce also has to go through, you know, his situation as well. So Batman Beyond is a great story. I picked it up during this Joker story arc, so now I want to see where it goes beyond. Okay, no pun intended. Yeah, with the other ones. Anyway, all right, moving forward to our top 5, and my number 5 this week goes to Criminal issue 4. The first 3 issues have been great. You know, we got to learn about this character by the name of Ricky Lawless, who's the main character of the story. And then we got to see a criminal story about a cartoon artist or an illustrator trying to steal all his original works back, which was really a lot of fun. And the original character, Ricky Lawless, was kind of tied into that story. So the way the story is written by Ed Brubaker is absolutely brilliant. You get sucked into these characters, and you want more stories from them. So in this particular issue, when it comes to issue 4, we're going to have a single story, and it has to do with Ricky Lawless about a bank robbery and a double cross. Whatever that story is, you know, whatever happens in it, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, it just gives you more characteristics of who Ricky Lawless is, because overall, he is the main character of this whole particular story. So, Criminal is a very well-written book. If you have not read the first 3 issues, go out and read it. It's awesome, guys. Great, great stuff. All right, so moving forward now, we go on to number 4. And number 4 goes to Venom issue 13. Now, I talked about War of the Realms tie-ins earlier, but this is a book that I normally read, so I'm just going to pick it up anyway. But yes, this is a War of the Realms tie-in. Donny Cates does not write this issue. It's going to be Colin Bunn, but Colin Bunn is a good horror writer. He writes very dark stories at times, and, you know, and this one has to do with Venom possibly teaming up with Malekith, and he joins the campaign to take over the 10 realms. I mean, that's what's going to happen in this particular issue. I don't know how long this story arc is going to be for, but I'm definitely kind of looking forward to seeing what Colin Bunn does with Venom at this particular point in his little story here. So, looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. this was Venom issue 13, and this was number 4 on my list. So, moving forward now to the top 3, guys. And my number 3 this week goes to the Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 20. Things are starting to heat up in this Hunted storyline. This is Kraven versus Spider-Man now. This is what you've been waiting for. It's the big showdown. It begins here. And supposedly Nick Spencer says this is a story that you've never seen before. If you're thinking this is predictable between a Kraven versus Spider-Man, this is nothing you've ever seen. So Nick Spencer has surprised me in every level. He's exceeded my expectations when it comes to Spider-Man and this whole lead up to this story and all his tie-ins. And so I'm highly anticipating this book. So yeah, man, Amazing Spider-Man, issue 20, totally can't wait. All right, so moving forward now to number 2. And number 2 goes to Dial H for Hero number 2. Great first issue. It totally surprised me as well. I didn't think it was going to be such a great read. You got to kind of feel for Miguel because he died in the beginning. He got brought back to life basically, or he almost died, and he got this rush when Superman came to save him. And ever since then, he's wanted to experience that again. And then he gets the power of Dial H in the last issue. So in this time, he comes face to face with others that crave the power of Dial H. And how does Miguel handle the power and deals with the situation at hand? Now, he's a young, inexperienced hero, so how does he deal with all this stuff? I think the artwork is great. It's very bright. It's vibrant. It's a series that, you know, definitely surprised me. I wasn't even going to pick this up in the first issue. I ragged on it in my comic book hauls throughout the advertisements, but this was a great first issue, and I'm so looking forward to issue 2. Alright, so what was my number 1 most anticipated book for April 24th, 2019? Well, once again, it goes to Detective Comics. This is issue 1002. Batman faced the Arkham Knight, and he got his ass handed to him in that first issue. He was doing this, trying to find out why all these bats were dying, and we find out that Arkham Knight creates this, this false sun, and so I guess maybe it's a exposure to sunlight, and that's why all these bats died, and so it represents what Batman's going to go through. I don't know. He has all these knights that are all modernized and whatnot, so it looks like Batman's allies are going to try to come and aid Batman, but they find out that they're in over their heads, and they don't know what to do against Arkham Knight. I'm very much looking forward to this. The first issue of this story arc was phenomenal. The artwork was beautiful. The inking was great. And this is something that I look forward in a Detective Comics book and in a Batman story overall. This is what I wish for in a regular Batman story. I know Tom King is a completely different writer, but Detective is my Batman book as of right now, and I can't wait for this second part of this story arc. I love the first one. It had me at the edge of my seat. Really great stuff. So there you guys have it. There are my top 10 most anticipated comics for April 24th, 2019. Now I want to hear it in the comments below, guys. What are your most anticipated comics, whether it's a top 10, top 5, top 3, number 1 most anticipated comic, and hopefully I helped you make decisions on what comics to buy for that week. And fans, again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that all important notification button so you don't miss a single video from me. And guys, I'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.